We are really, really hard to beat when we're at our best in those areas, okay? Those are energy areas. They're teamwork areas, okay? Really hard to beat when we're a team, okay? Let's go. One last thing, handle their runs, okay? Their punches, okay? Might be at the beginning, might be in the third quarter, whatever it is, handle it, move on, be mature about it, okay? Let's go. Believe on three. 1, 2, 3.
Believe! Welcome to Austin and the Frank Erwin Center, where Texas is one of only 3 undefeated teams in Division I women's hoops. But the Iowa State Cyclones have blown into town with upset on their minds. And why not? They've beaten Texas the last 3 times they played them, 58-57 in the spring. Hi, everybody. I'm Fran Harris, along with former Auburn coach Nell Fortner. And Nell, I heard you in Shoot Around talk about Texas as an elite team, but today you talked about them being a contender. What's changed for them?
Well, what's changed is this is a great team. It's the best team Texas has had since the year 2003 when they finished that season at the Final Four. Look, they have great balance, but the consistent play of 6'7" senior Imani Boyette has made all the difference in the world for Texas, has taken this team to a different level. She has moves. She's got it from the high post where she can drive. Look, y'all, that's 6'7" doing that. Very hard to stop, and the sky hook over a smaller player is very effective for her. She's also good in a high-low situation, but defensively, she makes the most difference. There's nothing coming in there. She can clean up defensive mistakes for her teammates on the perimeter and take this team really to another level.
The All-American candidate also was Big 12 Player of the Week. Picked up a lot of hardware in the offseason, but her mentality is just different.
It really is. I say this, you can't cheat the grind. And you have to have the grind in the offseason, the preseason. She's had more of that this past offseason than she ever has since she's been in Texas. It's paying dividends this season.
Boyette showing up for Karen Aston and her team, and Texas controls the tip against a very competitive Iowa State team. This Big 12 play is always phenomenal. Take a look at the lineups. No changes for Texas, really. Smaller lineup for Iowa State. Watch Kid Blazkowski, though. She is a senior, and she's on a mission as well for the Cyclones.
Iowa State forcing Texas into an outside shot, and we're going to see a lot of that today from this defense from Iowa State. Texas playing their daunting man-to-man defense, and make no mistake about it, they can pressure the ball and then take care of business inside the paint.
And that's something they can do. That's Shauna Johnson, folks. Watch her. She's only 5'10", but she will light it up from the outside and take you down low.
Well, such a versatile player on both ends of the floor.
McCarty answers with her own version of the three-point shot. Quick hands by Empress Davenport.
Well, it's going to be a shootout tonight because Iowa State shoots more and makes more threes than Texas does, and they like to score behind the arc. But Texas, as Brooke McCarty leads these Longhorns in that three-point shot, she knocks her own down.
Rejection by Boyette, early one for the senior from Los Angeles, and changes that one as well, Nell.
Well, right, she's got a block shot and a chain shot, so really making a difference on the defensive end early.
The pull-up by the senior from Duncanville, Empress Davenport, having a pretty good season as well for the Horns.
Again, you're going to see Iowa State run some really nice offensive sets. Bill Finley does a great job getting the most out of his talent.
The pull-up by Johnson is off, and here comes Texas in transition. McCarty will launch that one.
You see this zone defense by Iowa State really trying to invite the outside shot by Texas.
Long ball by Selena Rodrigo is off. That's a shot, though, that Bill Finley wants his team to take.
Absolutely. As long as they're getting the rebound, they've got to be able to get the first rebound, not the second or third, and allow Texas to get those extra opportunities.
On the shot clock for Iowa State. The rebound, Rodrigo. Here's where Texas can start to really show why they are number 4 in the country.
Well, they love to run in transition and offer rebounds, but Iowa State so far doing a really nice job of getting back in that transition defense.
No question about that. They're playing behind Boyette, and foul called on the floor. against the Cyclones. Go ahead, now.
You know, if Iowa State can make Amani catch the ball farther away from the block, it puts a little more pressure on her to create shot opportunities for herself.
Brianna Fernstrom with that foul will remain Texas basketball on the fresh shot clock.
Not going to see a lot of helping in on the post. Iowa State wanting to take advantage of really boxing out and only giving Texas one shot.
Yeah, I asked you that. I said, are they really going to play behind Boyette?
Yeah, it's somewhat of a different philosophy than what we've seen from other Texas opponents this year, but you've got to make sure you're only giving up one shot to Texas because they really hammer you hard on the offensive boards.
And the playing behind, make sure you have that rebounding position. 10 on the shot clock again. The long ball goes down for Bridget Carlton, and she can hit that. In fact, I can say that all day. All of them can hit that.
Well, I think we're going to see a lot of them tonight, definitely from Iowa State, that's for sure. They take a lot of them.
Boyette with the move to the basket signal for a travel.
You know, Amani Boyette's got a lot of different moves on the block, but that little turnaround hook shot right here, really effective. That's not an easy shot taking it on the baseline side of that basket.
So one substitution in the game, and it's been on the Cyclone side of the ball. Texas still with this original 5 on the floor. Davenport, Taylor, Rodrigo, Boyette, and Brooke McCarty. The steal by Breonna Taylor. And the left-hand layup goes down. Texas now with a 3-point lead.
Well, that's the quickness of this Texas defense. If you turn your back on them, they're liable to get a hand in there and for the steal. And Breonna Taylor brings so much defensive energy to this team.
Almost picked off by Brooke McCarty. Boyette with another block. It will remain Cyclones basketball. But we're seeing the defensive prowess of Texas at this point in the game now.
Well, I'm not sure that we've seen a player this year get a shot over 6'7" Amani Boyette in that particular situation. Just too hard to find some air.
7 on the shot clock. Defense swarming. And the charge against Jada Buckley. Brooke McCarty picking that one up for her team.
You know, just a little bit of an elbow, looks like came out of Jada Buckley, but Brooke McCarty doing a good job of really just getting right in the path of Buckley to the basket.
So last time down, Nell, we saw Texas, they've either gotten it inside to Boyette or they've taken a long shot. Playing right into Iowa State's hands, no question about that.
Well, they are, and they're going to have to find a way to try to penetrate this Iowa State zone and get a little bit higher percentage shots than just shooting threes. Iowa State, they take 24 a game. They're used to taking that many, not Texas.
That is their game plan. 10 on the shot clock again. Buckley off the dribble. The nice dish down low. Another block by Boyette.
It really gets to be amazing how much she affects every offensive shot in a play of an opponent.
The pull-up by Davenport is off, but here comes Johnson in transition.
You know, I like Iowa State's patience. I think you have to be patient against Texas to limit Texas's offensive opportunities.
Breonna Taylor takes another charge. Texas takes another charge, but it's been the Imani Boyette show. One rejection after another, but the big girl is showing her presence. It's Big 12 women's basketball, y'all. Come on back to Austin.
Welcome back to the Irwin Center where Texas is up 3. And if you remember back to last year, Texas is in the exact same position they were last season. A 13-0 record, a top 5 ranking, and facing off against Iowa State. That game was in Ames. They lost 59-57 and then proceeded to lose 7 of their next 9 games. So I asked Associate Head Coach Travis Mays, what's the difference between last year's team and this year's team? And he told me 3 things. First, the experience that they gained from going through the trials and tribulations of last year with their early success. and then the injuries. And then next, the maturity that they got from that, and then the team being back together for another year. And then finally, the depth, which is especially apparent on the offensive end. Texas with many more options. He also said this isn't a revenge game, but for them to accomplish their goals, they know that they have to win these games. And as for the Cyclones, Coach Finley broke it down to 2 easy points. He said no live ball turnovers. They want to minimize the Texas break, and then they need to compete on the glass. Texas 8th in the NCAA in rebounding margin. He said he just doesn't want his team to get killed. And also, guys, one thing to watch for, Iowa State only dressing 8 players tonight, so depth could be an issue.
Thank you, Tyler. So you see Bill Finley there in his 21st season at ISU. We'll talk about that lifetime contract that he has, Nell, when you had an opportunity to talk to him today about playing in this league and also what his team is doing this season.
Well, he's just done a tremendous job at Iowa State. Not only is he a great coach, but he is really the community, just galvanized the community around his team at Iowa State. I mean, Hilton Magic, we've all heard about it all throughout the country. They do not lose there very often.
No. Ariel Atkins into the game for Texas, hits the jumper to give Texas a 6-point lead. A 3-pointer by Atkins, and Karen Aston says it's very good to have her back.
Well, no question. And look what's coming off of Texas's bench. You got 6'5" Kelsey Lang in for Amani Boyette, and then Ariel Atkins in for Empress Davenport. They just keep getting stronger, not weaker, when they go to their bench.
Rodrigo playing the swing guard for Karen Aston, knocks down another 3. You think there's any chance Texas could try to get into a 3-point shootout with Iowa State?
Well, I don't know. If Rodrigo shoots a few, that's okay. She's shooting at 40%, so. You see the pressure by Texas, really Iowa State having to start their offense so far away from the basket, just trying to get some penetration. Nice job right there of getting it inside.
It was a nice penetration by Buckley. The miss by Carlton, and Texas now trying to get something on offense. Down low to Kelsey Lang. Had a great game against Texas Tech, the junior from the Woodlands. Brooke McCarty, got it.
You know, when you play the philosophy of, hey, we want to stay in until they force us to come out. Well, right now, Texas is really forcing the issue. We might see Iowa State loosen up a little bit in that 2-3 zone and go a little farther out beyond the arc.
Texas now on an 11-0 run. And 13 on the shot clock.
You see the dribble handoff by Iowa State trying to take advantage of that pressure defense, get around it, try to turn corners.
A little impatient was Ariel Atkins on the reach in, and players will do that now. They'll play good 20-something seconds of defense, and then they get impatient.
They just can't help themselves. I don't know what it is. It's almost like they just got to reach out and try to touch the ball for some reason. But, you know, you got to give Ariel Atkins a break a little bit. She's still just in her 5th game back this season, so she's still trying to work her way back into basketball shape and mentality.
Duncanville teammate Empress Davenport into the game for Selena Rodrigo. And then a nice little jumper there.
Boy, that was a beautiful play by Kid Blazowski right there. I like her. I like her demeanor on the floor. You can tell she's got a good basketball IQ, but that's way too easy of a bucket for Bill Finley. I know he's not going to be happy about a layup in a half-court offense.
So assist Kelsey Lang to Jordan Hosey, and then that's going to be a foul. Official decanter doesn't like that one. That's going to be on Kelsey Lang.
Well, right here, this is an easy basket by Texas inside to Kelsey Lang. Hits a diving Jordan Hosey to the basket. Nobody touched her from Iowa State, so she gets a wide open layup. So that's a play that they've got to tighten up that defense and not allow Texas to make. But back on this end, Texas is trying to double team Iowa State's post players. They're doing a good job of finding their teammates on the backside.
Brianna Fernstrom at the free throw line for Iowa State. Shooting 70% from the charity stripe. Missed the first one and the second one.
And those are points Iowa State really needs to knock down. You've got to, when you're going on the road, you've got to take advantage of getting to the free throw line.
Nobody on Brooke McCarty, and it's lights out for the sophomore from League City.
It's like a shooting drill for Brooke McCarty today, and she's wide open that nobody's even close to contesting her shot.
big rebound for Burkall. And Iowa State with a fresh shot clock.
Now, Burkall is a player that really needs to come in and do a great job on the board. She's a freshman. They're expecting big things out of her.
19 on the shot clock. Brooke McCarty's just been lights out. They're leaving her open now.
Well, and you've got to be able to get out there and at least get a hand in her face. But you see, nobody's even close to her when she catches the ball. I would imagine that's going to change somewhat as we continue in this game, because you can't let that three-point shooter heat up like that.
McCarty now with 9 points will take a seat. Rodrigo back in the ball game. Little on-ball action by the Cyclones with 7 on the shot clock. Johnson against Atkins. And she draws the foul smartly, puts her body into Ariel Atkins. That's a playground move. It was nicely done.
Well, it really is. She totally drew that foul right there, and Ariel Atkins should never leave her feet. And that's the mistake she makes, and Shauna Johnson takes advantage of that. That's a really smart basketball play right there.
Atkins now with 2 personals. Johnson. Finley was saying, if you look at her, she may resemble a cheerleader, but don't get it twisted. She's competitive and just a tremendous basketball player, and we're seeing that already tonight.
Well, she leads the Big 12 in rebounding. I mean, that's mind-boggling right there. I mean, she did it last year, and she's still doing it. So she finds a way to wiggle in there and get herself on the boards and get extra possessions for her team.
And what's so amazing about the stat you just gave us, she's 5'10". 5'10".
On a good day.
Yeah, with some extra lift in her shoes. All white jerseys on the board, but nobody connects. And Iowa State in transition.
Texas now with the 2 bigs in the game, Kelsey Lang and Amani Boyette. That's tough to contend with for any team.
Look at the number of handoffs that Shauna Johnson is getting. Clearly, Bill Finley wants the ball in her hands. And a nice dish off there to Meredith Burkall for another deuce.
Well, that'll open some things up if Iowa State can knock down those elbow jumpers right there. Loosen up Texas defense a little bit.
10 seconds remaining in the first quarter. Texas with a 23-12 lead. LaShawn Higgs, freshman. In a sticky situation, the ball is stuck on the rim, and it will be Iowa State basketball with 4 seconds left.
I always wonder how that happens. It's like it has to be absolutely perfectly placed in that position.
To get lodged in the iron, you got to be placing that. You're absolutely right.
Higgs doesn't have a lot of rotation on her ball, so that has a better chance of getting in that position with no rotation on the ball.
The pickoff nearly by Selena Rodrigo. 0.6 seconds left in the first quarter. And what do you think? Iowa State gets a 3-pointer off?
Well, what's important for them is to get a shot off. If it goes in, it gives them great momentum.
Kidd. Wiskowski almost knocks that one down. Texas is 5 for 7 in threes as we head to the second quarter. Imani Boyette's had a big quarter, but Johnson says, wait a minute, I lead the Big 12 in rebounding, and I got game 2. Big 12 basketball will return. Welcome back to Texas women's basketball. Texas with a 23-12 lead over Iowa State. Nell, we came into the game thinking Iowa State would be raining threes, and it's been Texas.
Well, and they've been raining them to a high percentage. How about 71%? But they're 5 for 7 from behind the arc, and led by Brooke McCarty, who already leads Texas with the threes. Ariel Atkins getting into the action a little bit. Selena Rodrigo shooting them at 40% on the season. But I tell you what, Iowa State has to find a way to contest these shots. They can no longer give up wide open looks at the three. It's like an uncontested shooting drill for Texas right now.
Brooke McCarty, first 2 conference games, 2 for 9 from three-point land. Today, she's 3 of 4 in the first quarter alone.
That's total focus. That's being very confident, catching the ball, knowing if no one's on me, I'm shooting the ball, and being ready and prepared for that.
Shot ready. Brooke McCarty has the green light for Karen Aston. And apparently, Imani Boyette does too. She will take that free throw jumper.
You know, one thing Iowa State has to feel good about is limiting Texas offensive rebounds. They've only got 2, and that's an area where Texas usually thrives at, is getting those second chance opportunities.
Ten on the shot clock. Another handoff to Johnson, and she calls her own number. The swipe by LaShawn Higgs, and she just outruns folks and misses the layup. And Imani Boyette with a touch foul and her first personal in the game.
You know, just really unfortunate. Beautiful steal by LaShawn Higgs. She leads this team in steals. She comes in and makes a difference, but got to nail that layup, and that's just youth right there. But the worst part about it is that Imani Boyette picks up the foul on the follow.
So let's go down and see what Texas was talking about in that huddle, Tyler.
Well, guys, all defense in that last huddle. Coach Aston saying on the dribble penetration, too many eyes just standing around watching, and then she feels that they are not recognizing the opportunities to switch on the perimeter. So a couple things to watch for on the defensive end for the Longhorns.
Sean Higgs blows right by the defender and almost picked up by Breonna Taylor, but here's an opportunity in transition for Johnson and the Cyclones.
You know, you see Iowa State being real selective on when they run. They want to make sure they get good transition baskets. If they can score quick, they will, but if not, they're going to set up some offense.
Nobody on the boards but white jerseys. Trying to stop that transition game is Iowa State. And Breonna Taylor playing that 4 position looks very small down there versus Burke Hall.
See Iowa State out a little bit farther now on these Texas shooters.
Boyette's miss cannot clean it up. Iowa State was on a 6-0 run before that last miss. What's the defense doing differently? Texas looks like they have a more difficult time scoring on this end.
Well, I think Iowa State's doing a better job of really doing some good things offensively, but the Iowa State defense, they're getting out on shooters a little better. You cannot allow Texas just to shoot uncontested shots at the percentage they're shooting them at right now. You've got to make them put a little pressure on them.
15 on the shot clock. Buckley doesn't look to score a whole lot off the penetration.
We see right now it's tough for Iowa State to get around these Texas defenders. They've got speed and quickness on the outside that's keeping Iowa State from turning the corner.
So Boyette will launch that one early in the shot clock, and it's one and done. Texas has missed 7 in a row, make that 8 after the last miss.
Well, the one and done is the reason why Iowa State is still in this ball game, able to come back down, knock down some shots.
.11 on the shot clock foul. Rodrigo with the Buckley penetration. Lots of on-ball screens by Bill Finley.
Well, you have to negate some of that Texas pressure with on-ball screens or dribble handoffs and try to make Texas defenders have to deal with a screen.
So Boyette will take a seat. Kelsey Lang in the ball game at that 5 spot. And now with her back to the basket is Shauna Johnson. Might have some advantage there against Breonna Taylor. The rise by Buckley and the bucket. Nice jumper.
You know, that's a player right there that I think needs to get involved more offensively is Jada Buckley for Iowa State. Really nice pull-up jumper. She's got a nice shot. Playing that point guard position more with the injury to T.T. Starks. So keeping her from shooting the ball as much as probably Bill Finley would like her to.
She's got a nice skill set, does Buckley. Nice lefted by Kelsey Lang. Not bad at her skill set either for Texas. Texas now with the 25-16 lead. If you're just joining us, Fran Harris, Nell Fortner for Big 12 basketball.
It's a good hustle play by Iowa State, which they need a lot of those when you're on the road. You want to get those extra opportunities.
Opportunity now for Texas in transition. And I am digging the discipline for the Cyclones, getting back, though, for transition defense. Long ball by Davenport. It will be Iowa State basketball.
No question, Fran. Iowa State's transition defense has been outstanding tonight. And right here, you're going to see Jada Buckley coming off of an on-ball screen, getting that little pull-up jumper at the free throw line. That's a really nice shot going against this tough man pressure from Texas.
And you got to think it opens up more stuff for Johnson, for Burke Hall, for other folks if Buckley gets into the action.
No question.
Nice player.
Meredith Burke Hall, the freshman, steps in with a moving screen right there. You know, that's not always the screener's fault. Sometimes the ball handler needs to really be careful with how they're attacking an on-ball screen. I mean, give her a chance to get there and get set. So, kind of a bad timing situation.
Burke Hall with her first personal turnover, Texas. 5:22 remaining in the second quarter, and yes, we are in the quarter system. The rule changes for women's basketball, played in 4 quarters, not 2 halves now. And Bill Finley told me yesterday that he likes the quarter system.
I do too, and I think every coach I've talked to this year says the same thing. They like the system. The games are going quicker.
They're scoring more points.
Yeah, more points.
The pull up again by Buckley, and then the rebound and the nice putback by Claire Ricketts.
Well, right now you see the difference with having Imani Boyette on the bench. You know, her defensive presence really takes away a lot of things that happen for an opponent in the paint.
That is a great point. Think about how many times Iowa State has scored in the paint. Selena Rodrigo knocking down another 3 for Texas. 6 on the night for the senior from Marietta, Georgia.
Really a nice shot. She shot the 3-ball well all year long. Just such a confident player in now her senior year.
Rodrigo has started all games for Karen Aston. Really coming into her own as a leader on this team.
The extra opportunities for Iowa State without Boyette in the game, really, it's just really showing itself right now.
So Rodrigo is leading this team, this undefeated Texas team, and finding her range, finding her shot. Texas up 28-18.
Welcome back to the Irwin Center. Texas up 28-18 over Iowa State. And we've been watching Iowa State getting back in transition. How are they doing it? Shots are going up for the Cyclones. You see nobody going and attacking the boards. Nobody's in the paint. They're getting back to stop Texas's transition game because all year long, Texas loves to run. They like to push and score quick. But Iowa State shooting the 3-ball. Really not a lot of people, only one player in the paint right here to rebound. Everybody else getting back to stop the transition game by Texas. And it's paid off for Iowa State.
You know, I would have loved playing in a game where I didn't have to go to the offensive boards now.
You just want to shoot the ball.
Exactly.
Let me shoot. Well, they do have 5 offensive rebounds. Texas has 3, but the reason why they shoot the 3-ball, long rebounds, they're able to get some of those. So right now, Iowa State, though, doing a great job in their transition.
And we talked about Bill Finley making a conscious decision. We're going to give up the offensive board because we want to stop this team in the transition. But how do you stop Brooke McCarty? Now she's doing pop and stops.
Well, right now, somebody's going to have to dedicate themselves to Brooke McCarty. I wouldn't be surprised to see that from Iowa State. They've boxed and won before. They've got a defense for that. We might see them pull it out.
Nice cut there by Shauna Johnson. And the bucket cut this lead to 10 with 3:27 to go in the first half. You don't see Selena Rodrigo drive a whole lot, but she thought about it on the baseline. Off the pick, stop and pop. And Boyette keeps it alive, and we've got a foul by Kid Blazkowski.
Really nice job by Imani Boyette just to keep the ball alive. Get a deflection, tip it out to your teammate. So if you can't get the rebound and grab it, then tip it out.
And you know, now to your point about Imani's difference this year, we would not have seen that level of activity and passion in her game last season. We had not seen that.
She's playing with that senior sense of urgency somewhat, and she's been very successful. Success breeds success, and I think she's feeding off of that herself.
4:17 on the shot clock. Brady Sanders in the ball game. Senior was a starter last year for Karen Aston. Coming off of an off-season injury. Turns the corner. Stop. Air ball. Boyette with the save right to Blazkowski. And here come the Cyclones. Now, we haven't heard a lot from Kidd. Blazkowski's got big family, folks. She's a Texas kid. Got about 16 folks in the stands for her today. But she's one of those three-point shooters that can get hot. And apparently, so can Shauna Johnson. Nice stroke.
You know, Iowa State's showing us why these games have been so close over the last few years, and they've won the last 3. They don't go away. You know, they stay solid. They don't go away.
Yes.
They force you to really stay focused if you're Texas to try to hang on to a lead.
Texas goes right inside to Boyette, who just makes easy work down low with the drop step and the lefty.
Well, they're going to guard. Iowa State's guarding her with one player, so that allows her to make offensive moves, and she's got a lot of them. She knows how to get to the basket. That was a beautiful move by Imani Boyette. At times, you might need to switch up your defense and bring that second defender just to get the ball out of her hands.
Boyette knocks down the free throw. Stuck at the 10-point lead. Boyette with 5 points. And 2 minutes remaining. Steal by Breonna Taylor. The pitch ahead to Rodrigo. She holds up. Nobody back but Cyclones.
Texas being very patient in this offense, trying to find the right opportunity. And that's what makes Boyette so dangerous. She's inside, she's outside. She's just a tough matchup for any team.
Boyette now with 7 points. Johnson with the leaner. She will go to the free throw line for 2.
You know, Johnson just seems like the kind of player that just heats up and continues to as the game goes on. She kind of lets the game come to her and figures out, okay, this is my spot. These are my spots. Let me go get it now. Nice player. 2
fouls for Breonna Taylor. Johnson with 10 points on the night. 11 points now. Leads the Big 12 in rebounds, 4th in scoring, 7th in assists. Just a terrific all-around player. Wide open, Brooke McCarty. Yes, sir!
I just don't think you can leave her open anymore. It's just, she is definitely has a great feel from behind the arc tonight, no doubt about it.
The nice spin move, changed by Boyette. There was a hand in McCarty's face that time, Nell, so they must have heard you. You can't leave her open. Well, she's got 14.
Kidd Blazkowski just covered 3/4 of the floor all by herself right there.
Yeah, she did.
And that defensive.
She did. They find Johnson in transition. And she hustles for her own rebound and knocks it off of Brady Sanders.
It's a great hustle play by Shauna Johnson. Ball comes out, and just one of those plays where you just wanted a little bit more than the other player.
So Kelsey Lang takes a seat for Texas. Jordan Hosey, the freshman out of Pearland, Texas. McDonald's All-American in the game for Karen Aston. 36 seconds remaining in the half.
You know, just looking for Jordan Hosey right now to make a play, make a defensive play, take a charge, get a rebound. But not a foul. But they call that one on Imani Boyette. It's going to be her second foul.
The nice all-around game of Shauna Johnson, though, Nell. You're looking at her numbers right now. 11 points, inside, outside. Very versatile on the offensive end.
Well, her whole stat line, because she rebounds, she assists, she can shoot the three, she can put it on the floor. She's a complete player.
The press works out, and then they hand it right back to Texas. 2-on-2, now a 2-on-3. Brooke McCarty will be signaled for a timeout. Actually, Karen Aston called a timeout. And Brooke says, Coach, come on, I was getting ready to light it up. Coach apologizes. Brooke McCarty having a big night. Texas up big here at home. State with 16.6 seconds left in the second quarter and, of course, first half. Karen Aston called a timeout to run a special play with her team. And Iowa State in a man-to-man defense now.
And this is an important possession right now for Texas and for Iowa State. You don't want to give up an easy basket, and that's exactly what Iowa State needed.
So Texas came up empty in that possession. Not quite what Karen Aston probably was looking for, was the lob right into the defense's hand. But Texas still has a 13-point lead over Big 12 foe. And Tyler Denning is now standing by with Karen Aston.
Coach, your team shot the lights out in the first quarter, a little bit more down to earth in the second. Were you happy with the offense?
Really happy. I thought that right at the beginning of the second quarter, we got a little shot happy, and we talked about it at the quarter break, which was don't shoot a contested shot because we don't need to. And then we went about 5 possessions taking some poor shots and kind of let them back in the game, and then I'll be danged if I didn't call a timeout when Brooke hits a 3. But I'm really pleased with the way we're playing the game.
How about the execution of the defensive game plan against Shauna Johnson?
She's pretty good. She's outsmarting us in a lot of ways. We're overplaying her too much. She moves a lot, though, hard to guard, but I'm really pleased with the rest of our defense. We're just going to have to lock down a little bit on her.
All right, thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Guys.
Thanks, Tyler. Texas heads into the locker room with a 13-point lead over Iowa State. They shot 7 for 10 from three-point land, and sophomore Brooke McCarty is lighting it up. She's 4 or 5. We'll be back with halftime in just a moment. Back in Austin, where Texas women's basketball leads Iowa State 38-25. The top 10 ranked Texas swimming and diving team hosts Auburn on Thursday. At 4 Central, men's and women's swimming take the pool to face a tough opponent in the Tigers. Then at 6:30 Central, catch the 1-meter and 3-meter springboard diving competition to complete the dual meet with Auburn. Also streaming live on the ESPN app. A Cheryl stomping grounds there. Nell Fortner. Hey, everybody. Fran Harris along with former Auburn coach Nell Fortner. Nell, it was a half of some superstars. Johnson for Iowa State, and Brooke McCarty had a pretty good one. What stands out for you on the stat sheet?
Well, Shauna Johnson definitely doing the job for Iowa State right now. The only player for them that's in double figures. Maybe not shooting a high percentage, but she gets her points from a lot of areas. She can put the ball on the floor. She can shoot the 3. She's such a versatile player. Again, she leads the Big 12 in rebounding, but her 3-point range is nice. How about 2 for 4 from behind the arc? And right now, the pull-up jumpers, but it's hard to score against the size of Texas. But she's the one who has to start the parade to the field goals for Iowa State in order for them to have a shot at beating Texas. And Brooke McCarty, look, from the time the game started, the door was wide open with wide open 3s, and she took advantage of that. Brooke is 4 for 5 from behind the arc, and she's not wasting any time when she catches the ball and is wide open. Iowa State going to have to bring some defenders on her and contest those shots better in the second half.
Brooke McCarty is famous for saying when she's not shooting well, I suck, Nell. But the first half has been pretty good for both of these teams in some areas.
Well, Brooke McCarty's not saying that right now, being 4 for 5. But right now, Iowa State's got to find a way to get some higher percentage shots, more points on the board. Texas doing a pretty good job. Amani Boyette picks up her second foul in the first half. Kept her on the bench for a little bit. Hadn't really gotten going too strong offensively. But credit Iowa State's defense. This zone has really taken away the inside game. But when you do that, you just hope that your opponent doesn't shoot the ball so well from behind the arc. Texas is.
All right, so we've got Big 12 women's basketball. Texas with a 13-point lead here in Austin. More of the second half when we come back.
You need
get her doing that. Texas with a 13-point lead over the Iowa State Cyclones, and Ty Denning caught up with the coach for the Cyclones, Bill Finley.
Coach, Texas 7 of 10 from behind the arc. Do you adjust defensively?
Yeah, we're going to try. It's really hard against them because as soon as you do that, you're going to open up the middle a little bit. Got to hope they miss a little bit. They're on fire tonight, so we're going to adjust a little bit, but we got to do better offensively. They're really getting up into us, and got to be stronger with the ball. Got to get something around the rim a little bit better, but and we get the chance to get to the free throw line. Got to convert. Got to do the little things against great teams, and we're not doing all those.
Johnson looked like she got her points. Who do you need to see individually get going?
Yeah, I'd like to see us get something in the post. We need something out of Bridget. Another wing player's got to help us. Jada's got her hands full trying to get us into offense. Kid and Bridget got to give us something. So, you know, we're hanging around, but this is a dynamic team. It's hard to score on them, and we got to create some offense through a lot of different ways.
All right, thank you, Coach.
Thank you very much.
Back for second half action, Big 12 women's basketball between the Texas Longhorns and Iowa State. Nell, and Bill talked about a lot of things that needed to happen in the second half. What do you think should be at the top of that list?
Well, they've got to get themselves to the free throw line. There's no question, but they've got to find easier shots. And we talked about that some in the first half. It's hard for them to turn corners right now and get themselves some higher percentage shots at the basket. But when you get yourself to the free throw line, you got to knock those things down. But Fran, this is really an interesting thing. In Iowa State last year, Texas was up 13 at the half. Texas is up 13 right now.
Yes.
That's how close these teams play each other. This is how close these games are. It's amazing. But you're going to see Iowa State success. They have won 17. They're 17-11 versus Texas. They've won 9 of the last 11 meetings, 6 of the last 7. So, look, this game is far from over. Being down 13 is nothing to Iowa State. They've come back and beaten Texas with that kind of deficit. So right now, we saw Texas in the locker room for a good amount of time at this halftime. So I'm sure Karen Aston had a few things to say to her team, how to keep Iowa State at bay.
Listen, last spring, Texas ended up losing 58-57, and it was close, and that happened in the last 2 minutes.
Right.
So this is an Iowa State team that's highly competitive and very well coached.
That's right. They know how to come back and win. They don't panic. They just keep playing solid basketball. Like, that's how you want to start the second half. You want to score first. Iowa State does it.
Meredith Burkhall with the jumper. And 8 points now on the game. The miss by Texas. And then a foul. So someone's, I couldn't see, there was officials standing right in front of me. So who fouled it? Who's going to the free throw line?
I'm not sure. A lot of bodies in between us and the basket right there.
That's right. Carlton with the foul. Breonna Taylor with the free throw. A nice spin move by Boyette. And then Breonna Taylor getting into the mix at 5'9".
Well, this is what Texas has to do. They have to exert their will on the offensive boards. If they're not going to knock down that first shot, they've done it all year long. They've gotten the second and third attempts to score.
Imani Boyette with nice heads-up play there, and then the little dish, the dime to Davenport, but she might have even had the shot herself, Nell, in that situation.
Overpass. It always turns into a turnover. You got to take the shot when you get it.
.15 on the shot clock. Johnson against Breonna Taylor. Buckley turns the corner with nobody in the lane except for 6'7". And throws it over Johnson's head. 1 on the shot clock. Violation. And Texas basketball.
You see again right there in Iowa State's offense not able to have the quickness to turn a corner against these Texas guards. They're just too quick laterally, and they're doing a great job of stopping Iowa State's try for penetration to the paint.
So Iowa State with the only field goal in the second half. Breonna Taylor with a free throw for Texas. Brooke McCarty with the floater. Back out to Johnson with 15 on the shot clock and just taken away by Breonna Taylor.
Really great defense. You can't dribble the ball just right in front of your body. Just any defender would be able to grab that ball like Breonna Taylor did.
Missed by Boyette. Just seemed to not be an offensive rhythm there for Texas.
Well, she's shooting with someone in front of her every time she shoots the ball, and that's maybe creating enough pressure to get her off the mark.
And Buckley finally turns the corner. Now you get the sense that she could do that more. There wasn't a whole lot of help defense in the lane for Texas.
She needs a little bit better screen so she can just get that half step ahead of the defense and get herself into the paint. It paid dividends right there.
So the fresh shot clock for the Cyclones. And Johnson, again, I keep saying Johnson against Breonna Taylor because that's such a key matchup in this ball game. Karen Aston told Breonna Taylor, you're not going to take the ball away from her. You're not going to do some of the things you've been able to do.
Well, it's a great matchup because it's two really nice players, and Breonna Taylor's strength is her energy defensively to create havoc.
Some nice defense by Iowa State. 2 opportunities for Texas, and Breonna Taylor will pick up her personal. Her 3rd personal for the Longhorns.
Well, she's not agreeing with that call. She's shaking her head and thinking she didn't do anything wrong, just a little bit too maybe aggressive in trying to grab and go after the ball right there.
You know what, Nell, we always hear about patience on offense, but how important is patience on defense?
It's very important. That's one of those places where you see it become a bad thing when you're impatient. You try to go for the ball and you just don't have the right opportunity.
Opportunity now for Texas in transition. Jordan Hosey on the way into the game and helps the official with that one as Texas throws that one away.
Really disarray by Texas right now. They have not come out very sharp to start this 3rd quarter, so that's got to be a bit disappointing for Karen Aston. But, you know, you got to credit the defense also. They're making things more difficult in the paint for Texas to get higher percentage shots.
Breonna Taylor, Empress Davenport take a seat for Ariel Atkins and Jordan Hosey. And the one-on-one coverage over Boyette. Burkhal's shot is picked up by Rodrigo, and Hosey wide open. Goes up with the left, and then Burkhal with the rebound.
Just a lot of missed bunnies right now for Texas. But again, Iowa State in great position, making them shoot over the defense and only allowing 1 shot.
That's going to be an offensive foul by Shauna Johnson, and she's still on the floor and needs to stay down a little bit as Blaze Kowski tries to help her up, and now she's limping a little bit, so that's not a good sign for Bill Fennelly.
Well, she might just want to go get a little drink of water and catch her breath right there. She won't be out very long.
So 2 personals on Johnson as she takes a breather. Iowa State now.
Now you see a little bit of a box-and-one right now. Blazkowski is going to shadow Brooke McCarty. Blazkowski did that against Brittany Martin from Oklahoma State, held her to 6 points. So it's a very disruptive defense, especially for the player you're shadowing. So Brooke McCarty not going to get those easy looks, as easy looks as she did in the first half.
The foul on Ricketts, Claire Ricketts, that's her 2nd. Jordan Hosey gets her own rebound and then misses that one. Boyette cleans it up for Texas.
You know, sometimes there's just nothing you can do about 6'7", and this is where Amani is so good. She gets herself in position, the ball comes out a little long, and she's 6'7", and with her arms straight, she does not bring the ball down, and there's just nothing you can do about that. So the worst thing you can do is foul. You gave up the offensive rebound. Don't foul her and give her the and one.
Boyette 73% from the field, from the free throw line. Misses that one. Ricketts goes to the bench with 3 personals for Iowa State. Buckley with the drive and kick, and that's Iowa State basketball right there, folks.
Well, Bridget Carlton, the freshman from Ontario, Canada, has a chance to be one of the best players to ever play at Iowa State, according to Bill Finley. So this is a player that they're really counting on to play big minutes for them this season. So we're going to see Carlton get lined up for this shot in the corner. Great penetration by Buckley to hold Jordan Hosey in the paint to give Carlton a wide open look from the corner, and those are looks where, again, you don't want players to get heated up. So Texas got to make sure they know where she is.
The miss by Carlton. Texas in transition. Ariel Atkins with the quick trigger and the rebound by the Cyclones. Texas now 1 of 10 from the field.
Yeah, not a good start by Texas in this third quarter. And it's surprising them knowing what this rivalry is about. That halftime score means nothing.
Nice dish off. The miss by Carlton gives it right back to Texas, and Ariel Atkinson, pitch it ahead, I'm down here by myself. Instead, Texas goes down low for some easy money by Boyette.
Yeah, when Boyette gets you buried in the paint, her head's under the bucket just about. There is no stopping that shot right there. Iowa State has to make her catch the ball outside of the paint, above the block.
Boyette now with 11 points for the Longhorns. 12 on the shot clock, and that's a nice dribble penetration by Buckley, catching Selena Rodrigo out of position.
Well, Monty Boyette just so good at burying her play, her defense under the basket right here. Just not a whole lot you can do about this. That's 6-7.
So you look at the best starts in school history, and this team about to make history again, Nell Fortman.
Well, this is a team that has the ability to make history. There's no doubt about it. We've talked about that all season long. Their depth, their speed, their quickness, their size, their experience. I mean, we could go on, but they're actually living up to their billing. And again, it's everybody. It's every player on that bench has had to do their part. They're so well balanced, tough to guard all the talent that is assembled on the floor at one time.
And Tyler can add a little bit to the run for Texas. Tyler?
Well, guys, that 14-0 start, if Texas were to get it, it would be their best since the 85-86 championship season. And that's something that I spoke with associate head coach Travis Mays about today as well in shoot-around. He said to get to that level, they need a higher base. The teams like UConn, Baylor, and South Carolina, they have that high level of consistency, and then they're really able to ratchet up come conference and postseason. So the way that they can do that, it's attention to detail, it's taking away options on the defensive end, converting at the free throw stripe, and putting teams away. So you see right now with Texas up 13, a thing to watch. Can Texas put this Iowa State team that's been a thorn in their side over the last couple years away?
Well, Nell, you talked about it earlier. This game last year felt like Texas may have been in the driver's seat, and then it turned into a thriller.
Well, it always is between these two teams, but it's in this conference, as is in any big conference, every game is so important, and they're all tough. But right now, if you win a conference championship, a Big 12, you're putting yourself in the talk for winning a national championship. So you got to start somewhere, and you start with the conference championship first.
So the shot clock violation gives it back to Texas with 3:25 remaining in the third quarter.
Iowa State doing a much better job of getting out on Brooke McCarty, not giving her easy looks in this quarter.
The pass out to McCarty. That one short. But nice recognition by Boyette on the double.
Ariel Atkins really doing all she can on Shauna Johnson, doing a nice job keeping her from shots.
The spike by Boyette, and then the shot by Blazkowski gives it back to Texas. That was like a kill in volleyball.
That was a volleyball move right there.
Boyette with a double-double already on the night. And LaShawn Higgs finally gets on the board.
A really nice inside out right there. The ball goes inside, and you look then backside, and LaShawn Higgs, such a quick first step with the ball, gets that baseline penetration.
Now, the interesting little matchup here with Higgs and Blazkowski is that they played, we'll talk about, they played together for George Washington.
You see how the ball went into lane. She gets a little bit of a double, but the really smart play on her part, trying to get inside. Not the double, but she gets it to the backside, and a nice finish by Higgs.
Higgs and Kid Blazkowski played their club ball for George Washington, who is the assistant at Texas now, and LaShawn Higgs' adoptive father. You see that a lot in the Big 12, Nell, where these players have played against one another, played with one another. Makes these rivalries and these competitions even more fierce.
Yeah, they all just grow up together in summer ball. You know, they might live in Houston, but they play in Dallas, or they live in Lubbock and play in Houston, and they go all over the country to play.
2 minutes remaining in the third quarter. Texas with the 14-point lead over Iowa State. Fran Harris and Nell Fortner with the call. If you're just joining us, Brooke McCarty launches, gets it.
Boy, she just has the feel for it tonight, and it's just one of those things. If you're Coach Finley, you're like, my gosh. Again, you're hoping they don't get hot, but Texas is tonight.
The lead's been extended to 17, and Johnson knocks it down to 15.
Iowa State was able to take advantage of a Texas mistake on defense right there. And that's what you have to do. You have to take advantage of mistakes, get your points whenever you can.
Iowa State with a nice 2-3 zone, and the pass zipped right in there by McCarty. And nobody stopping Johnson, and that's never a good sign. That's a good call.
Well, of course, the fans aren't going to agree with it, but I agree with it. I think she's still moving. She's not really set. So right there, Atkins gets the blocking foul right there. She kind of was trying to flop a little bit there at the end, but Iowa State can't make them. They're not making them Texas pay enough at the free throw line. You've got to be able to knock those shots down for the easy points.
The top 3 scorers for Iowa State shoot better than 80% from there. And Bill Finley told me yesterday, we get to the free throw line. That's what we do, and that's what we're going to attempt to do against Texas. Tonight they are 5 of 13. Ariel Atkins, the lefty from Duncanville, knocks that one down.
Now this is a lineup with Atkins and LaShawn Higgs in the game that I've been anxious to see all year long. Atkins obviously has been hurt, so we haven't seen a lot of her yet, but with Higgs' development, those two on your wings, on your edges, I mean, that is some speed, quickness, and athleticism out there.
Johnson with speed and athleticism out-jumping 2 Texas rebounders. Gets the putback for Iowa State, and then McCarty just loses the handle.
Just took her eye off the ball for just a second.
The throwaway gives it back to Texas with 24 seconds. Rodrigo comes back into the game to run the show for Texas. Brooke McCarty will take a seat, as will Ariel Atkins. Texas with a 15-point lead in Big 12 play.
Well, this is what Texas can do to you. They can do some mass substitutions and still bring quality for quality. It is really, their depth becomes quite daunting, especially to an Iowa State team who only has 8 players dressed. You see a little bit of the strategy of the quarters here. Texas going for the last shot to end the third quarter, not giving Iowa State an opportunity to have any offense.
Empress Davenport shot a baseline jumper that kind of looked like it went glass. How does that happen?
Well, that's what you want. You want to hit that last shot of the quarter, give you that momentum heading into the final quarter.
Texas with a commanding lead in their 3rd Big 12 game of the season. Lots of folks getting into the action for Texas. Iowa State will try to get back in this one when we get back for 4th quarter. Iowa State trails Texas 53-35, and the lone beacon of light has been Shauna Johnson. And for more on that, let's go down to Tyler Denning.
Well, guys, this season has extra meaning to Shauna Johnson. When her brother Jarvis was 14, he collapsed on the court during her 8th grade basketball practice, going into full cardiac arrest. He was actually pronounced dead for 6 minutes. He woke up in the hospital 3 days later. He was diagnosed with hypertrophic myopathy, which is a thickening of the heart muscle. He had a permanent defibrillator placed inside of his chest to give him a shock if ever needed. He continued to play basketball in spite of the doctor's recommendations and actually became the first men's player to start on 4 consecutive state championship teams in the state of Minnesota. He continued to play and then committed to the University of Minnesota. This past summer, he got on campus, but then after seeing the team's doctors, he wasn't cleared to play. He FaceTimed his sister, Shauna, said he broke down crying, telling her that he couldn't play anymore. She said, well then, I'm done too. Jarvis wouldn't have it, so Shauna said she would play for him this season, has dedicated it to her brother Jarvis, who still holds out hope that he could be cleared to play, remains on scholarship at Minnesota.
Such a great story, Nell.
Well, it really is, and now he's student assisting coaching, so he's getting a lot of experience.
Yes.
Breaking down film, learning all he can about coaching, and he'll probably be a great coach one day if he doesn't play again.
It's great he gets to stay close to the game.
And a really nice program at Minnesota for Rick Pitino's son is the head
Yes.
coach there, and they've had some really nice success. Okay, Empress Davenport from the 3.
I know, right? That's 2 threes for her at least tonight. And a big rebound by Johnson, almost taken away by LaShawn Higgs.
You know, LaShawn Higgs didn't play a lot of minutes in that Texas Tech game here in Austin. So I'm sure she's ready to get on this floor and prove herself a little bit. We've seen her have some fantastic games this season as a freshman. Still learning, though. Still has a lot of growing to do.
The skill set of Shauna Johnson, though, at 5'10", can take you off the dribble, as we just saw her do there. The hang time, the body control. She's 4 of 9 from free throws, though. And we'll get 2 right now.
And the free throw line's let her down tonight, and she's normally a good free throw shooter. So this is an area where she can really, she's leaving points on the floor for Iowa State.
81% normally from the free throw line. You know, Bill Finley was saying that the great thing about playing in the Big 12, Nell, is that you're going to see a different kind of team every single night.
Yeah, there are all kinds of styles in this conference, and it's but this one for Texas, I think you just got to go ahead and put it out there. There's not another team in this conference that has as many different looks that Texas can put on the floor with you. Baylor, excellent team. We know that. We know Nina Davis, Nia Johnson. I mean, they've got some tremendous players. But the variety of lineups that Texas can come at you with and defenses that they can play. We haven't even seen a press tonight.
That's right.
You know?
That's right. Or their zone, for that matter.
Right.
I mean, Karen Aston, predominantly a man-to-man team, but she has thrown a zone at a couple of teams and been successful using it. So they continue to stay behind the post players for Texas. Kelsey Lang just turns over that shoulder and goes up with the left.
We know with Texas playing all zone tonight, I mean, when you're playing a team like Iowa State, they take 24 threes a game. In a zone, you're going to get a lot of those looks, easy looks.
Yes.
So you play man so you don't give up those easy looks, because that's where Iowa State has to score a lot of their points, is from behind the arc.
Claire Ricketts with her 4th personal. She'll head to the bench along with Kid Blazkowski.
Love the name Kid.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like she's a 6 shooter or something.
Right out of Sugar Land is Kid, and got lots of folks, lots of peeps in the house tonight. So the original starters on the floor for Texas now.
I think one of the things Karen Aston has done a really good job of this year is with her substitutions. She's really found a little bit of a rhythm, a pattern. I like that all the starters are back in the game at this point in time in the 4th quarter. You give them more time together before this game finishes out, you know, to continue to find their rhythm through this conference season.
Monty Boyette with an easy turnaround. made it a little bit more difficult than it looked like it needed to be. Nice heads-up play by Johnson. Just couldn't convert, but beautiful penetration and dish.
Yeah, those are the baskets that Iowa State really needs to knock down. Wide open jumpers right in front of the free throw line.
Karen Aston says she doesn't want her team to get shot happy, and it looks like that was a little early in the shot clock. The pass over to Johnson got tipped by McCarty, and here comes Texas in transition.
Yeah, you've got to know that that's Amani Boyette in front of you if you're Shauna Johnson.
Nice pass. McCarty to Davenport for the deuce.
We haven't seen a lot of transition baskets by Texas tonight. Really, that might be the first one because of Iowa State's transition defense, but nice job of continuing to attack the basket. So we're going to see a little bit right here. Brooke McCarty, really nice job seeing the backdoor cut of Empress Davenport scoring the easy layup.
The look off, and then the commitment in transition gives Texas that easy deuce, and the lead now 22 in Austin.
Brady Sanders in the game right now for Selena Rodrigo. The player we saw a lot more last year, really had a kind of struggled this year finding her game again. Same game as she's had last year.
Kelsey Lang with the nice move. Now with 8 points, and Bill Finley wants to talk about it. Texas with a huge lead in Big 12 play. More Texas basketball when we return. Texas looks like it's in control here with a 66-42 lead over Iowa State. Now this program is 6 wins shy of hitting that mark of 1,000 wins for the program.
And it's an awesome feat. I mean, there's only, what, 500 programs in the country who have done that?
Not many.
So it just goes back to the dedication of this university to the administration early on.
Commitment early on. Yep.
And hiring of Jody Conrad that really catapulted this program into national prominence. I mean, just a pioneer in this sport, so well thought of, so much success here. And boy, a lot of great players have come through this program.
Yes.
Because of her. They came here because of her. And now it seems like it's right back on track to do some pretty special things in the future.
And Tyler can add a little bit to the 1,000-point lore. Tyler?
Well, Nell, you were exactly right. Before every game, Coach Aston actually writes on the whiteboard what their intention is for the record to be after the game. Underneath that, a countdown to 1,000 wins. She said it's fun to talk about and think about. It's a huge deal, and exactly like you said, a tribute to all the players and coaches who were here before them.
Brady Sanders with the 3-ball for Texas.
But that's what she does. That's a Brady Sanders shot right there. And the one thing I love about it is her teammates get excited about it. They know she's a three-point shooter.
Yes.
They know what she's done in her career here. And she's always available to come in and knock down some threes.
Brady Sanders had an off-season injury, was a little bit slow to get back, didn't participate in a whole lot of things in the preseason, and is trying to work her way back into this rotation for Karen Aston, which, by the way, is a tough job, Nell, when you look at the talent on this team.
Well, with the depth that they have, it's every day you've got to bring your lunch pail to work. And, I mean, put the time in, put the grind in to get your minutes on the floor. Nothing's given.
Johnson knocks that one down, 23 points now. Shouldn't say starting to heat up because she's been the most consistent offensive player for Bill Finley tonight.
Well, and with only 8 players, a lot is on her shoulders to generate, not just for her points, but to generate points for her teammates. And it's just been a hard go tonight.
Big players always want to put the ball on the floor, Nell. Monty Boyette, no exception.
Yeah, nothing's good down there with the little ones, you know.
So Texas with a huge lead at home behind Brady Sanders. The starter last year played 33 minutes, and tonight it's threes for Brady Sanders.
Texas women's basketball on Longhorn Network. is brought to you by Whataburger. Bite into something new. Introducing Whataburger's Buffalo Ranch Chicken Strip Sandwich for a limited time only.
Back in Austin, where Texas has a 69-45 lead over Big 12 opponent, the Iowa State Cyclones. We mentioned at the top of the show that Iowa State's won 9 of 11 of the last games, 3 straight. 4:45 remaining in this one. Looks like Texas might break that streak here tonight.
Well, we're seeing a Texas team that's really playing with a lot of urgency. I think not just on Amani Boyette being a senior, but
yes,
an urgency as a team. They experienced success last year, but not to the level, not anywhere near the level they wanted to. There was severe disappointment at times in that season. But right now, this is a very focused team, and like Travis Mays has said, very mature team. We've heard Karen Aston say that, a team that's very dedicated to the goals.
And they did some different things in the offseason, Nell. The grind was in full effect last year, and Karen Aston wanted to do some different things. She made them play basketball a little bit more instead of so much strength and conditioning, and I think it's paying off in terms of what they look like and their focus at this point.
Well, I like that idea. It gave them some freedom in the first part of the summer, but still expected them to be in the gym, but do it on your own. Understand what our goals are, and you've got to put the work in, and they did. And that had to have been very pleasing to the staff. Sometimes I think the season is way too long. Not just the season, but the off season. These kids are going 12 months out of the year. Their legs can't take it.
I agree with that 100%.
And mentally, it's not just your legs, but your mental capacity to do that.
Three-pointer is off. Hattis, Sarah Hattis, national champion volleyball player for Texas. Now full-time basketball with the rebound for the Horns. 3:30 remaining. The kick over to Sanders. And the good box out by the Cyclones. So Johnson out of the game for Bill Finley. And no offensive boards for the Cyclones in Texas now. Tasia Foreman running the show for the Horns. And now we can talk about that. We got the little post defense. Claire Ricketts, I think, is going to foul out on that one, but a little bit too aggressive with the back. What rule changes are affecting that?
Well, you can't displace a player, and that's what she did. She was shoving Hattis off of the block. And you can hold your ground with Hattis on the block, but you can't shove. Yes, you can't extend the arm. You know, you can't straighten out that bent elbow or displace the player off the block, and that's what happened. I think
go ahead.
I just think the rule changes have been good. I think it's created some really nice offense for the majority of this season, and more points on the board, a better game for a fan to watch.
Claire Ricketts does foul out for the Cyclones. A big rebound by LaShawn Higgs among some trees. Texas with the fresh shot clock. A skip pass over to Brady Sanders. She's feeling it, people.
You see Higgs got a hand on that, kept the ball alive, just deflected it. And that's all you got to do. If you can't grab it yourself, keep it alive for a teammate.
So Posey dishes it off to the senior Sanders, and she will go to the free throw line for 2 points. You know, I'll tell you, Nelly, we can talk about this. Brady Sanders, I mentioned it, 33.5 minutes a game last year.
Yeah.
Starter for Karen Aston, trying to fight her way back into this lineup, into this rotation. Not even the lineup, the rotation. And she says it's been really difficult. It's been hard trying to do that, not playing as much.
Well, first of all, there's a lot more talent on this team to have to fight your way through. But if Brady can find her niche, just find your place, and it's not going to be as many minutes as you've had in the past, but you find your time on the floor, you knock down a three, you make a defensive stop,
yes.
You know, you just make an assist.
Yeah.
Well, you can find your time on this floor and still be a very valuable part of this team.
That's part of the transition from going from a good team to a great team.
Yeah.
And teams like South Carolina, teams like Notre Dame, teams like Connecticut, they understand that. They're not looking, oh, hey, I'm going to play 40 minutes. You know, if you're getting 15 minutes on a great team, you're doing good.
Well, you're exactly right, and that's what we're seeing a lot more in these programs that are really coming into their own. In South Carolina, that's a great example of one, because you had Asia Wilson, who's a tremendous sophomore for South Carolina,
Yes.
coming off the bench last
Yes.
year. Okay, like that's amazing to me. She was freshman of the year in the South,
Coming
in the
off the
SEC,
bench.
coming off the
Yes. But that's what you know, when I talk to kids in the community, I go, some things you have to give up to get a championship. There's some things you have to give up, and sometimes that's playing time, sometimes it's scoring. If you want that ring, if you want to hoist that trophy at the end of the season, you have to give up some of your individual shine.
And that's where you're going to see the best teams do that. And well, UConn,
Yes.
yeah, he doesn't play a lot of players, but the ones that come off the bench, they do their job. They knock
Yes.
down a shot here. They make a defensive stop, grab a rebound. You take out the me. It's not about me on anybody on a team that's going to win a championship. And I think that Texas has a better grip of that philosophy this year.
So the starters on the bench, off of Nell's comment. The reserves on the floor for Texas with 2:14 remaining in the ball game. Texas with a 71-49 lead over Iowa State. And the penetration by Brady Sanders over to Haddis with 6 on the shot clock. Foman pulls up.
A lot of extra passes right there by Texas, trying to find the best shot on the floor. Not an easy zone to penetrate.
There was a travel, kind of a late call. I watched it and we were both going, that was a travel. Let's check out what Texas is facing coming up in the Big 12 in terms of their schedule, Nell. It never gets easier in this league.
No, it doesn't. And that's what's so great about conference play. Is every game is exciting. That's why we see crowds starting to get bigger on these games. But, hey, mark your calendar right here, because that Baylor game is going to be something special. They are obviously one of the best teams in this conference, but lost to Oklahoma State, which was shocking to everybody in this conference. But, you know, that loss opens up the door for Texas, you know, right off the bat, because they have not lost a game yet. So that's going to be that's a big game for Baylor. They need to try to get that loss back by beating Texas.
Texas, the only undefeated team in Big 12 play. About to head to Oak State this weekend. Tough place, Stillwater. If you can eke out of there with the win, you are doing something good, because that is a very tough place to play.
Well, it's a tremendously tough place to play. They'll play a lot of different junk defenses. They run a zillion offensive sets. It's a tough game to prepare for. Brittany Martin really having a nice season already.
She's good.
Yeah, she's a really nice player. You know, Iowa State beat them in Ames. You know, Iowa State only shot 22% and won that game. So it's going to be a slugfest.
Yeah, that's a great way to describe it. And again, back to Finley's point, so many different looks you're going to get in the Big 12. You're going to get some finesse with Baylor, some great coaching there with Kim Mulkey. You're going to get, as you said, a slugfest, a grind fest in Oklahoma State. And, of course, West Virginia, we saw the rugged style of play that they played last week in Morgantown. Texas coming away with that first victory there for Karen Aston in Morgantown. Kidd blocked by Foman and stepped on the line. Decanter official right there for the call.
Well, that was a really athletic play. Right here by Tasia Foman. She's shown us really a lot of different things this season. Isn't playing as many minutes as she probably wants, but she does some pretty special things when she gets in the game.
She has the impact on the defensive end and was a sharp shooting guard for Duncanville. 2 state titles with Ariel Atkins. Borowa with the baseline jumper. Brooke McCarty is our Chevy most dependable player of the game, Nell, and it was a toss-up, but she came away with the honors today.
Well, how could it not be her? Her three-point shooting was just spot on tonight. 6 of 9 overall, but 5 of 7 behind the arc. Really set the tone for how Texas was going to beat this Iowa State zone. And that, it started with her and it finished with her from the three-point line.
McCarty tied her career high with 5 threes, 17 points on 6 of 9 shooting from the field. Just a terrific night for the sophomore.
You know, but the board play by Imani Boyette tonight, 17 rebounds, another double-double for Boyette. And again, I go back to what we talked about in the Open. Her consistent play, that you can depend on her and know what you're going to get from her night in and night out, really makes a difference for this Texas team. Everybody can play off of her, get that rhythm off of her. So good night for Imani Boyette also.
That's going to do it for Big 12 women's basketball. Texas rolls to 3-0. They stay undefeated in Big 12 play. Nell, your thoughts?
Well, I think that Texas, again, is showing us their consistent play. You have to be happy about that. Maybe not as happy with the third quarter, came out a little slow, but Texas showing us their depth and their ability to play at a level that's going to continue to win ball games in this conference.
Imani Boyette was not the player of the game, but she had 11 points, 17 rebounds, 7 blocks. What do you say about her progress?
Well, she just is a difference maker on both ends of the floor, but it's the consistency of her game. We've seen this all season long. This is not a shock at all. So her double-doubles continue to pile up, but again, everybody being able to feed off of her consistent play.
So Texas rolls to 14-0, remain undefeated, 3-0 in Big 12 play with a victory over Iowa State, 75-54 is the final score, and we will roll out with Texas as they sing the Eyes of Texas.